Hank, well, long time no vid response, so I decided I might as well start here. Uh, I'm sorry to hear about the drug cost increase for your ulcerative colitis medication. And I'm sorry that you're stuck on medication to control or to help you manage the symptoms and to have somewhat of a um, I can't find the proper words, a, a way of living that's hopefully not as painful and as deranged by the disease. Unfortunately, it's a type of disease that even with science and medicine, they can't really pinpoint everything because it's one type. It falls in the category of irritable bowel syndrome or any intestinal aggravations. You've got Crohn's disease, you've got ulcerative colitis, you've got irritable bowel disease or syndrome. There's a few others that are linked one into another, and all three of those without proper not medication but proper maintenance of one's health tends to lead down a slippery slope that unfortunately usually always end up in the same way. Severe issues with the bowels that lead to possible, actually in most cases, it's a higher elevated risk on cancer. And for those that haven't managed their health well enough, unfortunately, it also means that they end up with a possible coleostomy. For those of you who don't know what a coleostomy is, it's when they take your bowel and they shorten it, sometimes ending with a coleostomy bag. So basically, you're always bagging your fecal matter, which is usually attached to your attached to your leg, or in a convenient part where you can change it in the area where it's not going to be too much of a bother, where you're basically in the bathroom. I have no reasoning, no thoughts really on the reason behind why they decided to increase their medical costs or the cost of the drug from $50 to $650 to almost $700. It makes no sense. This is not the gas industry. It's not as if, oh, there's a typhoon that decided to hit one of the oil platforms, so the price of gas is going to go up because they had to go and shut down that platform to avoid spillage and they lost production. What? Unfortunately, I have a thing with companies that have high-level CEOs. In fact, that goes for a lot of companies across Canada and North America, United States, Mexico. I know that a lot of CEOs put a lot of their time and a lot of their sweat and blood into making a company as it once was, but nowadays CEOs are a dime a dozen, and truth be told, I have no faith and no trust in CEOs who line their pockets with insane amounts of salary when the truth around salaries nowadays is that you can live quite comfortably on anywhere between $35,000 to $50,000. Unfortunately, you're talking to a man whose personal opinion on the matter of salaries, everyone's salary should be capped at $75,000, and if you're making more than $75,000, that money should go into charities. But that's me. No one will share that opinion, or not many will. Some may. Hey, I'm game to be flagged and trolled on the subject matter. If you're actually absolutely gunning for it, go for it. But that's my opinion. And you can't twist my arm, and I'm not twisting yours. But in regards to your drug, have you checked in Canada to see if there's any cheaper versions of it? You could always bus into Canada, get 6 months worth like most of the geriatric crowds do or used to do a few months ago. Now with the Canadian dollar being at par and a little bit stronger than the American dollar, you might want to wait. You're going to spend a little bit more before you didn't have to worry about that. But I wrote a letter to Monsieur Boissonneau, and yes, it's a monsieur, and his last name is Boissonneau, which is French. I have a strong feeling that the man is probably from Quebec, but that's because Boissonneau, for me, a lot of the Boissonneaus that I've met are originally from Quebec, from the province of Quebec. Not from Quebec City, but from the province of Quebec. Some reside in Moncton, New Brunswick. Some reside in the province of New Brunswick, and some reside in other French communities across Canada. Unfortunately, he may have decided to move himself down to the U.S., or he may have been offered a job after applying and so on and so forth, or went up the corporate ladder. But still, it irks me that they decided to do this without any forewarning, any notification, any notices going out to pharmacists that deal this drug actively to patients that depend on it. For those of you who suffer from ulcerative colitis, there are other means. I won't say a homeopathic, because it's not really homeopathic, but more natural, such as red cabbage juice, certain types of high percentage cocoa chocolates, but those are also insane compared to the drugs. They're a lot less. You're not talking about $200, $300 for a block of chocolate, but you're talking at anywhere between $65 to $100. As for red cabbage, you can buy them anywhere. It works for some, it works for others. For others, it's actually staying on smoking cigarettes, because the nicotine and tobacco byproducts actually stabilizes their health. Why? For the life of me, I don't know how that works, but I mean, it's all an experimentation thing. And heck, if I could offer you anything that would make your life be normal without your ulcerative colitis, by that I mean having to not worry about medication, having to not to worry about anything else other than your loved one and the rest of things, I give it to you. But I don't, unfortunately. But I do know that you've suffered through your own little moments, and I'm quite glad that you're still with us, and I'm quite glad that you and your brother, well, being the Green brothers as you are awesome as always. So I think this probably will give you a smile, and I think you deserve it for the stress that you're being put through. Here's your image of the Popsicle Smurf, for being a guy, even under the worst of circumstances, with extreme cool. Anyways, from Moncton, New Brunswick, my name is Nick. This is TDC Moncton, and I'm the Re-Man of YouTube. Have a nice one.